Hi, myself Ankit, and hope all of you are doing well. So we were discussing the chapter biotechnology, and this is the third part. So without any further ado, let's get started. So as we were describing our story of biotechnology, we have simply come to the conclusion that if we have to isolate our target DNA, see, this is a quick recap of the previous videos what I have taught. Okay, so suppose you have a gene which is extracted from a source, and the gene is called the target DNA. So somehow, somewhere, maybe the source that is not required to know, but from somewhere you have isolated a targeted DNA, and then the target DNA is inserted into a vector molecule. That vector can be plasmid, can be many other types which will be discussed later, and then the plasmid is somehow by many methods, is transferred into a appropriate host cell for its replication. Okay, so this is the broad picture we have discussed till now, and let us jump into the small details which will be necessary. So in this part, we'll going to start the discussions with the blunt end. So what is blunt end? So প্রথমে শুরু করার আগে বলে দিই, there are many dots, okay, in this story. In the story of biotechnology, there will be many dots. So just bear with the lectures. I can imagine that you have some trouble to understand, but after the story goes, the dots will be connected in a appropriate manner. Okay, so don't worry. So we were discussing blunt end. What is blunt end? See, if you cut a DNA, so this is the DNA. DNA is basically double-stranded, and if you cut the DNA where the ends of the DNA, just like the normal ends, meaning the two strands ends at the same position. The two strands ends at the same position. So this type of ends are called blunt ends. Okay. So the restriction enzymes that we have discussed earlier can also cut a DNA by producing blunt end. মানে আমার যখন কোনো একটা রেস্ট্রিকশন এনজাইম কোনো একটা ডিএনএ কে কাটছে, সে ব্লান্ট এন্ড তৈরি করতে পারে। ব্লান্ট এন্ড কি না, ডিএনএ লাস্টের দিকে দুটো স্ট্র্যান্ড যেরকম থাকে, যেরকম নর্মাল আমরা পিকচার দেখতে, যদি এরকম থেকে থাকে তখন তাকে আমরা বলবো ব্লান্ট এন্ড। ওকে, so some restriction enzymes will come, suppose this is the restriction site, and then introduces a nick in along with the axis of the DNA. So what the cuts will be produced. So this is one part and this is another part. So this is how they are separated. See, this end and this end is similar. This end and this end are similar. So that is why it is called blunt ends. Okay. So I have mentioned one example, that is SMA1. SMA1. It is a restriction enzyme and it recognizes a site. The sequence of the site is CCC, GGG, and the reverse is the same. So this sequence, this type of sequence where the 5' to 3' direct read, if you read this type of sequence in 5' to 3' direction, is always will be the same on the other side also. See, in a DNA there are two strands and those two strands have opposite directions also. Okay, so if you read a strand from 5' to 3' end, what you will get? If you get A, B, C, then also if you read the same strand if you read the opposite strand in the same direction, that is 5' to 3', you will get A, B, C. So this is the sequence. So if you read it from 5' to 3', you will get C, 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 G, G, G. And then if you read again 5' to 3', but from the opposite strand, you will get C, 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 G, G, G. So this type of sequences are called palindrome sequence. So this type of sequences are called palindrome sequence, and palindrome sequence is a characteristics of restriction sites, meaning that all restriction sites more or less have a palindromic structure. Means all the restriction site will be like this. Not go into the example, but go into the idea that if you read one strand from 5 to 3' and it is ABC, and then in the opposite strand it will be also ABC from 5' to 3'. Okay, so this is the blunt end. So what is blunt end? I am simplifying the concept. That is, the blunt end is if a restriction enzyme introduces a nick along with the axis and it generates the cut that is normally found in the end of the DNAs. will be called as blunt ends. Okay, the name of the enzyme that can introduce a blunt end is SMA1. Okay, I have already mentioned the how to name these enzymes in the previous part of the video. So if you missed the video, please go into the video and watch. Okay. And then the next part comes the sticky end. What is the sticky end? So now you have understand what is the palindrome sequence. See, this is also a palindrome sequence. If you look into it, GAATTC in the 5' to 3' direction, and in the opposite strand, it is also GAATTC. Okay, so the directions from 5' to 3', the sequences are exactly the same. So these type of sequences are called palindrome sequence. So in the sticky end, the restriction enzyme introduces cuts in a special manner. That is, it recognizes a specific site. Okay, it recognizes a specific site in the DNA molecule, and it always cuts in the same, after the same base. So if there is G in one strand, there will be also G from the other strand. So what the cut will look like? So if it cuts here and it cuts here, okay, so the ends which will be generated is, so this is one end plus the another end will be this is the other end. So now you understand that. So the picture will be like this. So this will be one part and this will be the other part. This, so you are just separating them, you are just opening them. If you join them together, they will be just like this. So these are the two parts which will be produced if a sticky end is generated. So how a sticky end is generated? So there are certain types of enzymes, just like EcoR1, one of the restriction endonuclease, that recognizes this particular restriction site and introduces a cut after the guanine base in the 5' to 3' direction. So this is the first guanine and this is the first guanine. So after guanine, the EcoR1 enzyme introduces a nick, and the ends that are produced are just like these, and usually you can see these ends are flanked. Flanked means they are just overhanging. So if this is the DNA molecule, so the strands which are generated are usually hanging. See, this part is hanging, this part is also hanging. So these ends are also called staggered ends. Staggered ends, also called sticky ends. Also can be called flanked region, flanked region. Okay, so these are some names to describe the sticky ends. Okay, so the enzyme that is responsible for the generation of sticky ends is EcoR1. There are multiple types of enzymes also present, but in this particular lecture I have chosen this enzyme because it is because we are very familiar with the enzyme. Okay, so these were the concept of blunt ends and the sticky end. So what will be their application will be coming in the next part, in the next part. So just stay with the concept, and as I said, I will be connecting the dots along with the story. Okay, so I hope you have understand. If not, please rewatch this part, and if any doubt arises, let me ask in the comment section and I will be there. I will be happy to help. Okay, so the next concept that comes is linker molecule. So what is linker molecule? Oh, I have forget to mention that as we have watched that there was a site. So this was the restriction site for which enzyme? EcoR1, and it was cutting via like this. This was the part. This was one part. This was another part. So what is breaking here? So when I am saying that the enzyme introducing a cut, so what I am saying that the cut, if the DNA sequence is just like this, if the DNA molecule is just like this, and the G and A are not like G and A, not this cut, it is breaking the phosphate bond. It is breaking the phosphate bond or the phosphodiester bond. Phosphodiester bond. So it is breaking the phosphodiester bond from the DNA. So you can see that the first base here, this is a nucleotide. I hope you know what a nucleotide is. This is a nucleotide, and it after the G nucleotide, it introducing a cut means it is cutting from the here. It is breaking the phosphodiester bond of the DNA backbone and separating the others. So you may ask, sir, what will be the fate of these bonds? These are hydrogen bonds. These are very weak bonds. If the main backbone is broken, this can be easily broken. Okay. So the EcoR1 is basically cutting the phosphodiester bond. Okay. So that is why I have drawn the picture, and I think you should know that this is the sugar molecule, this is the nitrogen base, this is the phosphate group. Okay. And this is how the DNA looks. If you consider this as 5' to 3', this will be the 5' to 3'. Okay. They are opposite in direction. So now coming back to the concept of linker. So what is linker? See, when we were generating the blunt ends, so the vector molecule, sometimes to do some modifications, we also need to form sticky ends. Okay, when there is a blunt end is produced by an enzyme, sometimes to incorporate that particular target DNA. Suppose this is my target DNA. This is my target DNA, and I want to incorporate it inside a vector. So to incorporate the target DNA inside a vector, we need to modify the target DNA. Sometimes we need to modify the target DNA. So here the concept comes linker. Linker is short stretch of known oligonucleotide sequences. So linkers are short stretch of known oligonucleotide sequences, meaning that these are nothing but some sequences just like GAATTC. So this is a linker. This is a linker. So now you might have noticed that I have taken the same example as the previous one. So what I am indicating by the word known is that these are also the restriction sites. Okay, these are also restriction sites where enzymes can be introduced and the sticky ends can be generated. So you might have another question. So when there is blunt end, why should I need sticky ends? So the concept is, see, we need to cut the vector. If this is the vector, suppose this is a vector or this is a plasmid. To incorporate our target DNA inside the vector molecule, we also need to cut the vector. Okay, we might have cut using an enzyme that produced sticky ends. So the ends might look like this. So the ends might look like this after cutting. You can see these are the staggered ends. Okay, so I have used some. You may imagine that EcoR1 I have used, or some other enzyme that I've used which has produced this flank ends or the sticky end. So now if my DNA is of blunt end, what it will create the problem is that, so this is my DNA which has the blunt end. Now there is some gaps. You can see now the sealing of the vector molecule will be a problem. So this sealing can be done in two ways. One I am mentioning here, that is the use of linker. Use of linker means you are already inserting new sequences at the end of the target DNA and introducing it after digestion. So you have added linker. At the end of the target DNA, and you have also given it the restriction enzyme which will generate the sticky ends. Now you can incorporate it into like this. Sorry, this is just like this. Now you can incorporate it just like this. Okay. So this is the concept of linker. Linker is used to incorporate or insert our target DNA molecule inside the vector molecule. So if we have generated a vector molecule that has the sticky ends and we have a target DNA that has the blunt end, so to match the requirements we need linker. or we can use some other enzymes like DNA polymerase 1 and ligase to seal the gaps. Okay, this is the another way to seal the vector molecule. So linkers are the new concepts, and linkers are mostly used rather than using DNA polymerase. Okay. So this is the concept of linker, and the similar thing is adapter. Adapter is the same as linker, but you have seen that linker has also blunt ends. Linker has also blunt ends. See, this is if the blue part is the target DNA, and these are the linkers, which means that these also have blunt ends, and you have to modify it by using restriction enzyme, and then it will convert into sticky ends, and then they will be converted into sticky ends. Adapters are same as linkers, but they already have the modified ends, meaning that the oligonucleotide stretch that we have taken was earlier modified by any restriction enzyme, and then the cut which was produced, the sticky end which were produced, are added after the target DNA. So this is adapters, and this is linkers. So I've told you what are the uses, that is to seal the DNA, to seal the vector molecules, to seal the vector molecule after inserting the target DNA. The linkers and the adapters are used. Okay, so linkers and adapters are short stretch of non-oligonucleotide sequences which works as a restriction site for some of restriction enzymes, and it helps in the ligation of the vector molecule. Okay, I hope this is clear. Now let us jump to the next part, that is the type of vectors. So the next part is vector. So I have already told you about the story of vector. So vector is a extra chromosomal DNA that helps in the transfer of our target DNA or target gene from source to inside a appropriate host, or you can say from in vitro to in vivo. In vivo means inside a cell, in vitro means outside of the cell. Okay. So we'll be looking at the types of the vector. So there are many types of the vector, but we have chosen 3 types. That is transcription vector or cloning vector. So what is this transcription or cloning vector? So transcription, you can clearly see the name, cloning. Cloning means if we have a target DNA, and we just want to clone the target DNA, we just want to produce multiple copies of that target DNA. So what vector we will use? We will use the cloning vector or the transcription vector. Transcription vector simply simplifies that the vector which is used only for the cloning purpose. Okay. And the next is the expression vector. So what is the function of the expression vector? So if you need to monitor the expression of certain target genes, that is, you have a target DNA and you have incorporated it into a host, and you want to find what proteins it produces. You want to see the expression. Of target DNA. Then you will require the expression vector. So what is the difference between them? In cloning vector, there is no transcription happens. No transcription happens. But in case of expression vector, transcription happens as well as translation also happens, because without translation you do not get the protein or you do not get the product. Okay. So these are the classification. Also there is another type of vectors called shuttle vectors. Shuttle vectors are, suppose this is a organism of species A and this is another organism of species B, and you want to transfer your target gene from this species to another species. Okay, so the interspecies change of the target DNA molecule is done by shuttle vectors. Shuttle vectors can propagate into many species, just like 2 micron plasmid of yeast, which can multiply into yeast also, and also it can multiply in E. coli. So yeast is yeast and E. coli is a bacteria. So these are two. So E. coli is a prokaryotic cell, yeast is a eukaryotic cell. So you can clearly see that the shuttle vector can replicate in both of the species. Okay. Vector cloning vector example with the later part will be seen PBR322. PBR322, and there are many complex names of the expression vector you don't need to know, but if then also there are JEX3X vector. One vector is called JEX3X, plasmid JEX3X. Okay, so these are the broad classifications of vectors, and we will be looking at some of the particular vectors which are required for, which are important for the exams. Okay, we'll now discuss about the plasmid. Plasmid is an extra chromosomal DNA that helps, that always has a benefit for its host. So plasmid is an extracellular DNA, extracellular circular DNA. So extracellular circular DNA that usually benefits a host, by which it may have any antibiotic resistance gene. It may have any antibiotic resistance gene. Okay. It may have some protein synthesizing gene. Suppose it may have uracil synthesis gene, or it may contain a lac operon or lac gene. So these are basically expression, and these are basically antibody resistant. Okay, suppose I have taken a bacteria and it doesn't have the uracil biosynthesis mechanism. So what a plasmid helps this bacteria, that it usually carries this. And after receiving the plasmid, this host becomes happy. This host becomes happy because it has now achieved the synthesis of uracil, which was previously lacking. Also, just like lac operon. Okay, lac means lactose operon. If a bacteria don't have a lactose operon, and by taking a plasmid, it start to synthesize lactose, that means the plasmid has a lac operon inside it. Okay. So now we'll be discussing the plasmid called PBR322. We'll be discussing now PBR322. So let me draw it quickly. So this is a typical structure of the plasmid called PBR322. The nomenclature suggests some information also. So P symbolizes the plasmid, B symbolizes a scientist named Bolivar, R symbolizes a scientist called Rodriguez, and 322 is the number that distinguishes this plasmid from the other plasmids that are developed in the same laboratory. Okay, so this is the name suggests, PBR322. It is usually 4363 kilobytes, mean all the bases that will be equal to 4363 kilobytes. Okay, and these are the several parts of the plasmid. So now we'll be discussing the characteristics of plasmid, but to start with, we need to know that what is the basic characteristics of plasmid, or the basic characteristics of vectors. মানে একটা ভেক্টর কেমন হতে হবে যাতে আমরা সহজে ইউজ করতে পারব। So the first thing, it must contain a multiple cloning site. It must contain a multiple cloning site, MCS, okay, or has a polylinker. Next, it must be small enough, because if it is very huge, then if it is very big, then you cannot transfer it easily inside the host. But it is, if it is small enough, then it is easy to transfer it inside a host. Okay, so small. Then it should contain an autonomous replicating sequence or a origin. origin to replicate, because we are cloning, we are using it as a cloning vector, and if it don't have a autonomous replicating site or origin of replication, then what will be the use of it? Okay, মানে আমরা এমন একটা অস্ত্র নিলাম যে অস্ত্র দিয়ে কিছুই করা যাচ্ছে না, তখন লাভটা তো হবে না, তাই জন্য আমাদের অরিজিন অফ রেপ্লিকেশন দরকার। and there are multiple selectable marker or screenable marker, selectable marker or screenable marker, screening marker, screening marker. So these are the requirements of a suitable vector molecule. So what is MCS? MCS mean a region, MCS mean multiple cloning site. MCS symbolizes a region inside the plasmid that has many restriction sites for different enzymes. These all are restriction sites for different enzymes. So if a site that contains many restriction sites, then it will be called as multiple cloning site. Means the more number of multiple cloning sites are present, the more the versatile the vector is, meaning that you can use more number of enzymes to cut and get different results every time. Okay, so these are the restriction sites. I have mentioned these sites with the name of the restriction enzymes. So this site is HindIII, meaning that the HindIII restriction enzyme can cut here. CLA1 is another restriction enzyme. EcoR1 is one restriction enzyme. This is the site. PV1 is a site. PST1 is a site. PST1, this is the site. Okay, so these are all restriction enzymes. To conclude, generally PBr322 contains 20 restriction sites. Okay, means 20 restriction enzyme can be used to modify. Okay, and this is the fact. And there are certain antibiotic resistance gene. I have forget to mention that it should also have okay. And there are several antibiotic resistance gene. You can see that there is a antibiotic called ampicillin. There is a resistance called tetracycline. Okay, these two are antibiotics. What do I mean by ampicillin resistant and tetracycline resistant? Means if there is a bacteria and if we give this plasmid to that bacteria, then what will happen? The bacteria is getting resistance against these two types of antibiotics. Suppose a human has this bacteria which does not have the plasmid. So after the manifestations of the disease, I can usually start the treatment by using ampicillin or tetracycline. But if the bacteria somehow acquires a plasmid, then the ampicillin and tetracycline will not work. Means the ampicillin and tetracycline cannot kill the bacteria alone. Okay, so this is the resistance generation. So মানে আমার তো লাভ তো থাকতে হবে, মিনিং দিস ইজ আ এক্সট্রাসেলুলার ডিএনএ। এবার আমি একটা জঞ্জালকে ভেতরে ঢোকাবো, আমার বাড়ির ভেতরে আমি একটা জঞ্জালকে ঢোকাবো, সেই জঞ্জালটা যদি আমার কোনো বেনিফিট না দেয়, তাহলে আমার জঞ্জালের রেখে লাভ কি? ওকে, বোঝা গেল কনসেপ্টটা? আশা করি বোঝা গেছে। So the two antibiotic resistance gene are told. Now there is the origin of replication that is extracted from PMB1 plasmid. That it is extracted from the PMB1 plasmid, and there is another gene called ROB gene. ROB gene usually, the full form is the repressor of primer. See, there is a concept. Okay, there is a concept called copy number. What is copy number? Copy number is the maximum number of plasmid can multiply inside a host. Copy number is the maximum number of the plasmid that can be maintained inside a host. So suppose this is host and this plasmid has a copy number of 7, meaning that this host can maintain 7 of the 7 copies of the same plasmid. If the copy number is 71, then 71 copies can be kept inside the host. Okay, so the repressor of primer, what it does, it regulates this copy number. It regulates this copy number. How it regulates? See, this is not important, but still I am mentioning it. The plasmid replicates via a mechanism called rolling circle mechanism. Rolling circle replication model. Replication, and you know, to initiate replication you need primer. So if this is the site where the primer is attached, and then the replication will, and then the DNA polymerase will come and start the replication. So if you somehow can block the primer binding site, what you can easily do, you can regulate the copy number. Meaning যখন আমার 7টার মতো হয়ে গেল, তারপর কি করলাম, তারপর আমি আমার যেখানে প্রাইমার এসে বাউন্ড করছিল সেখানে প্রাইমারের বাইন্ডিং এর জায়গায় আমি কাকে বসিয়ে দিলাম, এই রব প্রোটিনটাকে বসিয়ে দিলাম। এই রব প্রোটিনটা বসে যাওয়ার পর কি হবে, ওই জায়গাটা ব্লক হয়ে যাবে, ফলে কি হবে, আমার প্লাজমিডের রেপ্লিকেশন হবে না। সি দিস ইজ নট ইম্পর্টেন্ট, বাট স্টিল আউট অফ কিউরিওসিটি আই হ্যাভ টোল্ড ইউ। So ROP usually regulates the copy number of the plasmid. So this is the overview of plasmid PBR322. There are some another plasmids called PAC 18 or 19. These are small plasmids, okay, and usually the size of these 2863 kb. Yes, and the data may differ. So the size of the means this is very small. PAC 19 is very small plasmid, and it can carry more length of insert molecule. That is, the target DNA can be of more kbs. Okay. So this is the PAC 18 or 19. Next theme is bacteriophage vectors. The next part is bacteriophage vector. So you may now know that bacteriophage is the virus that usually attacks bacteria. How it look like? It look like this. It look like this. This is the head, this is the neck, and this is the spikes. Okay, the head is, this is protein structure called capsomere, and inside this the genetic material is stored. This is the viral DNA. So when the scientists were researching and they were coming to various new concepts, they found that a bacteriophage can easily transfer its viral DNA from itself to the bacteria. So what if we modify this DNA? মানে বোঝা গেল, মানে একটা ব্যাকটেরিওফাজ কি করছিল, খুব তাড়াতাড়ি করে ওর ভাইরাল ডিএনএটাকে আমার ব্যাকটেরিয়ার মধ্যে ঢুকিয়ে দিচ্ছিল বা ইনসার্ট করে দিচ্ছিল। সো আমরা যদি ওই ডিএনএটাকে, ওই ভাইরাল ডিএনএটাকেই আমরা যদি মডিফাই করে ফেলি, if we modify that viral DNA, so it will be simple na to transfer the DNA inside. So that this is the concept that given rise to the bacteriophage vector. Here the bacteriophage genome is taken out. Okay, the bacteriophage genome is usually of size 49 to 49 kb. Okay, 49 kb, and the head can maximum carry 53 kb of gene. Maximum it can carry 53 kb of gene. So the insert can be maximum of 53 minus 49, maximum of 4 kb, meaning that maximum 4 kb DNA can be inserted into this vector molecule. Okay, so now the DNA is extracted by isolating it from PFU, plug forming units. মানে প্লাক ফর্মিং ইউনিট থেকে আমি ব্যাকটেরিয়াটাকে, ভাইরাসটাকে আলাদা করলাম, সেখান থেকে তার আমি ডিএনএটাকে আইসোলেট করলাম। দেন দ্য ডিএনএ উইল গো ইনটু মডিফিকেশন প্রসেস, এন্ড দেন we will use restriction enzymes, then we will insert our target DNA, we will ligate it, and then insert into the head of the bacteriophage, and the bacteriophage will be attacking new hosts, and then along with the viral DNA our target DNA will also be transferred. Okay, so this is the concept of bacteriophage vectors. Now we'll be looking at the cosmid vectors. Cosmid vector, the name suggests that a plasmid having a cos site. A plasmid having a cos site. So now the question arises, what is cos site? See, in various lambdaphages, lambdaphage is a bacteriophage. Lambdaphage is a bacteriophage, and in lambdaphages, the viral DNA is usually linear type. Okay, the viral DNA, that is the genomic DNA of the lambda phage, is usually linear. But as soon as it gets into the host, into the new host, that is the bacteria, it circularizes, or circularization occurs. তাহলে একটা আমার লিনিয়ার ডিএনএ ছিল, সেটা আমার একটা ব্যাকটেরিয়ার মধ্যে ঢোকার পর সার্কুলার হয়ে গেল। কি করে হয়ে গেল? হাউ ইট ইজ সার্কুলারাইজিং? So the answer is, at the end of these linear molecules, at the end of this linear viral DNA, two sites are present. Usually they are of 12 sequences. 12 sequence sites. 12 sequence sites are present at the end of the lambda phage genome, called the COS sites. What this does, these COS sites are nothing but just like cohesive ends. What is cohesive ends? Cohesive ends are ends that can simply join, that can simply fuse with together. So if there is two COS sites at the end, and if after introducing it into a bacteria, what the COS site does, the COS sites come near proximity and they fuses with each other. So these are the COS sites. So by the help of COS site, the linear DNA is converting into the circular DNA. Also, there is another function of the COS site, that is when there is the bacteria, or is the lambda phage is following lytic cycle. When the lambda phage is following the lytic cycle, it usually has the COS sites after producing the, see in lytic cycle, what the bacteriophage do is it continuously synthesizing its new genome, its new linear genome, and all these linear genomes are connected with the COS sites. So this picture is not good. You can simply think that. So these are the COS sites, and this is genome 1, genome 2, genome 3, and all the genomes are joined by the COS site, and this joint structure is called concatemer or catenate. So after what this does, then an enzyme called terminase comes into the play and cuts the COS sites, and what it produces? It produces again the linear DNA, and this linear DNA are packed inside the newly formed head. So this is the role of the COS site. Okay, so to manipulate, so in the biotechnology, so I have given you the idea of what is COS site. Now just think, if you have a lambda phage genome, and it has a COS site, so half of your problems are gone. You can easily delete some of the part that is not required for your experiment, and you can easily incorporate new DNA part, and then you transfer this DNA, you then package this DNA inside a bacteriophage head, and then the bacteriophage will do its job. It will transfer its genome. As soon as it gets into the host, it will be circularized just like a plasmid. So this is how the cosmid vectors came into. These are very efficient. Usually the size of the cosmid vectors are near about 5 kbs, and usually they can carry up to the insert of 30 to 45 kb. Now can you imagine how much DNA these vectors can carry? So this is why cosmid vectors have more use in the field of biotechnology. Okay, now we'll be discussing the artificial chromosomes. This is also certain types of vector molecules. So artificial vector molecules. So what is this? See, one challenge in the manufacturing of vector is that the insert volume, the insert size is very low. You have seen that in case of bacteriophage vector, it is only of near about 3 to 4 kbs. In case of cosmid, it is usually 30 to 40 kbs. In case of PBR 322, it highly can up to be 10 kb. So you can see how less DNA can be carried inside these vector molecules. So to overcome this problem, scientists have developed something that is called artificial vector molecules, or artificial chromosomes, or you can also say chromosomes. So Y chromosomes, because they have some extra features in them, because they sometimes can have a telomeric region, telomeric region. They can also have certain numbers of selectable markers, and most importantly, they can carry up to 300 kbs of DNA, meaning that if this is the vector molecule, the insert can be of this big, 300 kilobytes. Okay, so this is why the artificial vectors are used, and I have taken two examples. One is BAC. BAC is usually bacterial artificial chromosome, and the YAC is yeast artificial chromosome. Okay, so this is why the artificial chromosomes are generated to insert huge number of DNA inside these molecules. Okay, and one challenge of this, that due to the heavy size of the insert molecules, these molecules also get bigger, and the bigger the vector molecules, the more problem we will face in the insertion of the molecules inside the host. আমাদের ততই অসুবিধা হবে যত বড় মলিকিউল হয়ে যাবে, তো তাই জন্য এদের ক্ষেত্রে এই একটা অসুবিধা দেখতে পাওয়া যায়। So in this part we'll be discussed about atumerificance and how can we insert our target DNA, into a eukaryotic cell. Okay, so atumerificans or Agrobacterium tumerificans have a plasmid called TI plasmid. And what this TI plasmid has, just simply know that if this is a gene, it has a gene of creating tumor that results in the crown gall disease in the plant cells. Okay, so if we can delete this harmful gene and we can insert our target DNA in the same position, so what will happen? The Agrobacterium tumerificans has the plasmid itself, and we are modifying this plasmid, deleting the tDNA. tDNA is tumor inducing DNA or tDNA. So we are deleting the tDNA and inserting our target DNA, and then we just see that the molecule with our gene of interest has been transferred into a plant cell. So this is a plant host. Okay, so this is how you can by using a virus, that is Agrobacterium tumerificans, you can easily send the target DNA. Sorry, this is the bacteria. So this is how you can transfer target DNA into eukaryotic cell by using the bacteria called Agrobacterium tumerificans. মানে কি মনে রাখতে হবে যে Agrobacterium tumerificans এর মধ্যে একটা টিআই প্লাজমিড থাকে যেটা কিনা টিউমার ইনডিউস করতে পারে। আমরা সেই যে জিনটা টিউমার তৈরি করেছে সেই জিনটাকে কেটে বাদ দিয়ে দিলাম। সেই জিনটাকে কেটে বাদ দিয়ে দেওয়ার পর আমরা কি করলাম, আমাদের টার্গেট ডিএনএটাকে ঢুকিয়ে দিলাম। ঢুকিয়ে দেওয়ার পর এটা একটা ভেক্টরের মতো কাজ করবে, এন্ড আমাদের প্লাজমিডটা কোথায় চলে আসবে? আমাদের প্লাজমিডটা অটোমেটিক আমাদের হোস্টের মধ্যে চলে আসবে। So these are all the vectors possible and important from the exam point of view. Now we will be discussing the methods of insertion into the host cell. See, this is important part. Till now we were extracting our target DNA. Okay, this is our gene of interest. So we were extracting our gene of interest from a source, then we were modifying it gene of interest, and then what we were doing, we were modifying it by using linkers or adapters. Now then, after modification, what we were doing, we were inserting the molecule inside the vector and sealing with the ligase enzyme, and then the vector we have chosen is transferred into our host cell. So we have understand till this, there are certain types of vectors, how we can modify, how we can identify, but how can we transfer our vector into the host? This is a very big challenge. there comes the methods of insertion into the host. So what are the methods? So methods can be of making a cell competent, competent meaning treating a cell in calcium chloride solution, 100 molar calcium chloride solution at 4 degree temperature. So treating the host cell with this solution makes the cell competent. Competent is the phenomenon where a host cell can easily uptake a DNA outside, can usually take up a DNA from its environment. Okay. So what is the function of the salt? Usually this salt helps the DNA to precipitate onto the membrane, and the lower temperature and also some buffers helps the DNA to penetrate into the cell. Okay, so this is how the competent method work. You can also use transduction, like we had seen in the case of bacteriophage vector, meaning that we are modifying a viral DNA, then we are packaging the modified viral DNA inside a new viral head, and then the virus will infect a bacteria, and with the infection our gene of interest is also sent into the host. Okay, so transduction is a process. Another process is called liposome mediated gene transfer. Liposome mediated gene transfer, meaning here liposome is just a sac or a vesicle that is made up of lipid, and when this liposome comes with the contact of the cell membrane, it usually fuses, and the materials inside the lipid vesicle is also transferred into the host. Okay, so this is the process, liposome mediated gene transfer. Also we can use gene gun. By using gene gun you can directly transfer the gene into the host cell. Also you can use electricity or electroporation